Welcome to Love Being American, where you can catch up on the major events and political issues that are happening around the country. Now introducing two millennials who love being American. Your hosts, Andrew and Henry.
Welcome!
Woo! Another exciting week of Love Being American.
Welcome to the 5th episode.
Another Friday night. Man, it's been a long week. It's been a grind this week, and this is a great way to kickstart our weekend. I'm excited. This just got me going. I'm pumped. I know Andrew over here, he's pumped. He's always pumped. He's probably more pumped than I am, if that's even possible, but he does it.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty pumped. Henry, he brought me some pretty good beer. It's from Craft Brewing Company, and it's called Fallen Angel Blonde. It's from Lake Elsinore, California.
It's pretty local. How is that?
It's really good. Yeah, it's smooth. I really like it. It's got a pretty good flavor. I, on the other hand, I'm not really sure what I brought Henry, but
he brought Andrew over here brings me this indica. Not to get confused with marijuana. This is an India Pale Ale. Honestly, I'm not the biggest IPA fan, and I really don't like this. If you like IPAs, you might like this. A little too many hops. Too many hops for me, but it's out of Eureka, California. The Lost Coast Brewery and Cafe. 6.5% alcohol by volume. It really isn't that bad. I just don't enjoy IPAs that much. It has a very cool label.
yeah.
It's some very Hindu, I don't know. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought the label was cool, but I'm sorry, it sucks.
No, it doesn't suck. I'm speaking out of turn. It doesn't suck. It's an all right. I just don't enjoy IPAs. I appreciate the token, the gesture. It means a lot. And I'm still going to drink it. I'm going to drink for effect, though.
Well, when have you never not drinking a beer that you've been given for free?
I don't think I've ever not drinking free booze. That would be
like any good American.
Any good American's not going to pass out free booze. I don't care. You give me some shine, I'm game. If it burns, I'll still drink it.
Yeah, you will. So this week, I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but there's a podcast and it's really popular. It's called Serial. And it came out sometime last year. And basically what it was is it was going over like a murder mystery episode by episode. Each week it released something new. And it was like huge. It took off. It's the number one podcast on iTunes. You've probably heard of it if you're into podcasts because you're listening to this. Well, they recently launched their second season. So they do things by season over there.
By season.
Yeah. And it's by This American Life, which originally started out as a blog. And so they released their second season, and this one is about...
do all podcasts do seasons?
No, not all podcasts do seasons.
Okay.
It's just very selective. I mean, it just depends on what format you want to do. The idea of seasons, I think, is something kind of new in podcasting.
I think that's interesting. I've never heard anything like that. But I'm not the most podcast savvy, I guess.
Yeah, he's on a podcast.
Even though I'm on a podcast.
So, so anyway, this one's about... Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl from the Army. And for those of you who don't know, back in June of 2009, Sergeant...
back in 2014, there actually was a lot of news press about this. And I remember seeing the video. And there was like a silver pickup truck, and we see this pale white guy. And there's a bunch of Afghan Taliban. They're opening the side door. It's the exchange between special forces. This guy was for 5 years. He was held by the Taliban and miraculously survived.
Yeah, he was the last POW in the Afghan war. So, our motto is no soldier left behind. So we brought him home, and he's been silent since he came home because he was, right after we got him, he was labeled as a deserter. And so that led to a bunch of speculation.
But they didn't know about that he was a deserter first, did they?
It's really unclear. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be too hard to find out if you just interviewed people, or talked to people who was in his,
platoon.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. So he hasn't said anything since he came home, and Serial decided to do this season on him and why he decided to leave. So the very first podcast episode came out this week, and it's pretty fascinating because, it's the first time you hear him speak. So getting his side of the story. And to give a little more background for those of you who don't know, Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl, he was in the Army. He was stationed in Afghanistan. And in June of 2009, he walked off of his post.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You're in Afghanistan. There's not much around but sand. Not even
just like from the description that that Serial gives, he's literally there. It's like I can't even describe where they are. They're like you almost don't even know why we're in there in the first place, which is actually part of the reason why he deserted.
Yeah. So supposedly they're there because someone was planting IEDs on the side of the road, and they wanted to maybe see if they could spot who was doing that or something. But basically where he was posted was described as like a living hell. It was 4 trucks surrounded by barbed wire by an Afghan grave. It was really weird. Everyone
they were shitting in a hole.
Yeah, and then burning trash.
So they had one guy stirring the pot essentially.
Everyone got
it never stopped burning.
Yeah, everyone got the stomach flu like religiously. It sounded pretty horrible, and on top of that, they saw little action.
For the greatest military power in the world, with all the resources we have, you would think we could do a little better. At
least make a toilet.
Yeah, do something. Well, no, they made a toilet.
Yeah,
they made a toilet.
It just wasn't too
great.
But
this is the 18th century outhouses do a better job than what these guys had.
So Bergdahl essentially walked off of base in the middle of the night, and then he got picked up by the Taliban, and he was held in captivity for 5 years. And eventually, in May of 2014, we did a prisoner swap. We swapped 5 Gitmo detainees in Gitmo's Guantanamo Bay for him. And then shortly after we did that, all these people started coming out saying, he's a deserter, right? And normally, deserters get either thrown in jail for life or shot.
Or,
they get
shot
killed.
On the spot.
That's punishable by death.
So historically, if you left, didn't matter what military in what part of the world you were associated with, if you left, you were dead.
Yeah.
The people that were your friends and that you fought with would gladly put a bullet in the back of your head or a knife in your back, or depending on how far back you go.
So this probably was one of the first times in history that we actually traded high-level prisoners in Gitmo for
a 20. Well, when he left, he was 23. When they got him, he was 28-year-old sergeant in the army.
So
the guys who are in Gitmo, these aren't schmucks. These guys that we're going to spend all this money to have in Cuba are very high profile. They've done some stuff. They organize stuff. So we traded. It seems to be an unfair trade.
Gitmo's in Cuba?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was always wondering where it is, but I never decided to look it up.
That's the controversy. We don't do trade in Cuba, but of course, we still got them in our back pocket.
Nice ocean view.
Right. I guarantee you they're not seeing anything, though.
Between getting tube fed. Yeah, so it was really interesting. If you haven't listened to it, just go to the podcast section, Serial. It's the first one. And he basically says he deserted because he was trying to cause something called a Dust 1.
It means duty status unknown. It's not AWOL.
It's like a man overboard in the Navy.
Right.
And he was trying to cause this because he wanted to blow the whistle because of leadership deficiencies.
Leadership failures, and one more thing.
It was just leadership
failures and
throughout.
Horrible living conditions.
Yeah.
And the conditions were horrible. And now the leadership, that's debatable. We all have bosses we don't like. I think we all can say that there has been at some point in our life we've had a job that wasn't our favorite with a boss who wasn't the most favorite person.
Yeah. And he said, and what was interesting, he said, he saw leadership deficiencies to the point where it sounded like someone was going to get killed. But I'm thinking you're in the military, man. Like, of course someone might get killed. Like, that's kind of your job, right? You're in the middle.
You're sacrificing as a military personnel. you're putting your life on the line.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking that's kind of part of the job. And
you have to take risks. And inherently, the risks are, unfortunately, death if you were in the military.
Yeah. And so he goes on to say that in order to blow the whistle, he needed to create this dust one.
Because it would create a cooperative effort among Marines, Army, and the Navy all at once. It would all I'm not sure exactly the thought process or the procedural that goes into this dust one, but apparently everybody would be notified of this, and that when he was found, that he would be thrown in jail. He expected to be thrown in military prison, but he would be able to talk to...
He'd get a platform to voice his concerns.
He would get a platform to be a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Super whistleblower.
Yeah, exactly.
Super blower.
Then, so he leaves base right in the middle of the night, and about 20 minutes into his journey or something not that long, he knows he messed up. He starts freaking out. So he kind of like changes his plan that he wants to return to base, but he can't do that till morning because he might get shot if he rolls up on his base.
Because he's not in his military garb. He was fairly methodical when he planned this out. He took $300 in Afghani currency and U.S. money out of his bank account.
We all know U.S. money's worth way more than that.
Right?
Afghani currency, so.
And then he wore traditional Afghan garb because a white guy in a U.S. Army is a lot more easier to spot than if he were in traditional Afghani clothing. So if he was to return to base, not during the designated time, high chance he's going to get killed by his own people, his own friends.
Yeah, so he's like thinking of ways, I guess, running through his mind for what he says on how he can get back to base and not get in trouble, but still have a platform. And his idea was he's going to go find evidence that helps him track down people who have been planting IEDs in the middle of the road. And then he'll return to base with intel about the IEDs that are being planted. And he won't get in trouble because they'll be like, you deserted your post. But he could say, well, I was gathering valuable intel. And that would be, in his mind, you said that would be, a way to get out of the desertion thing. Justify it.
Desertion. He could, instead of saying, hey, I deserted and got over it.
Yeah.
That,
I got
scared.
I
went undercover.
Yeah. So, and then...
And he was known in his battalion for talking to local Afghans and like the Afghan police that was posted right by this spot that he was stationed.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, he thinks that if he brought back this information, that it'd give him a platform, which I don't know necessarily if it would still give him a platform to blow the whistle. I don't think it would give him the
platform that he envisioned.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So it's very strange, that he immediately leaves, gets overwhelmed with what he did, and then he tries to change his plan to something that's
drastically... He walked for 30 minutes. Yeah. He got about a mile away in the middle of the Afghani desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately changes his plan. So he says in the interview that he viewed himself almost as like a super soldier or like a Jason Bourne.
Yeah, he was trying to do something... heroic,
yeah,
and then he realized that
by deserting,
so he was being he was gonna be a hero by being unheroic.
Yeah, after that, the story almost writes itself. He gets picked up by the Taliban, literally, like even 2 hours after he leaves.
Not even a shocker. Like everybody, like if you're outside of this post. It's all just Taliban country.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you're going to roam in there, it doesn't... even if you're a local, if you have a fruit stand, I'm sure the Taliban's going to shake you down and be like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This was...
It's the middle of the night. Why
are you walking around? Who are you?
No matter what he was or what he was wearing, who he was sticking out like a sore thumb. If you looked outside your street and saw someone walking down the middle of it, at 3:30 in the morning, they're going to look suspicious.
Right? You're going to be like, that guy's intoxicated or he's up to no good.
Exactly.
He's up to no good, essentially.
Yeah, either way.
Whether you're up to no good yourself or you're a good citizen, you're going to think something's odd.
Yeah, it's strange. So, after he goes missing, supposedly, I mean, this hasn't been directly related, but, people go looking for him. He's a soldier. He's missing.
He didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So, like, this was all in the back of his mind. He conjured this whole plan up, didn't confide in anybody, just did it. And apparently he left his tent and he left all of his things very neatly organized, and everybody's freaking out because no one from the interviews, you wouldn't go missing. It's not like somebody's going to snag you.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to get kidnapped.
Especially a sergeant.
Yeah.
I mean, not to diminish the ranks of the army or anybody in the army, but I would hope, or I shouldn't say hope, but I would think that the Taliban would try to capture somebody a little more.
Yeah, I don't think they're really in the business of. They know we're not going to. It just wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, it made zero sense and it was almost impossible for nobody to know if somebody took him. So he was just gone, essentially, and everybody's freaking out because they don't know why. It was so just ridiculous that he would disappear because they're in the middle of nowhere in Taliban country, and their buddy, their friend, the guys that they're living in hell with, just disappears. So there's a big concern. Everybody's freaking out. I would freak out too if I was in that situation and my friend goes missing. If you went missing, Andrew, I would be like, what happened to Andrew? So it's understandable why everybody freaked out. So he disappears, and for 5 years.
Yeah, and so they send out patrols. They try to look for him, right? And through all the things that they try to do, supposedly there's been some debate on whether they're directly correlated, but it's estimated about 6 people died looking for him.
This is Saving Private Ryan gone wrong.
Well, Saving Private Ryan did go wrong, right?
Well, I mean, if you look in the movie in Saving Private Ryan, Matt Damon, didn't want to go back. He wanted to fight. He believed that he was supposed to be there with his men. So that's what I mean by go wrong. There's a total... Essentially, they thought they were saving Private Ryan.
Oh, they thought they were saving someone worthy of the cause.
Worthy of the cause, but it was somebody who was not a part of the cause.
Yeah. And so it's sad that, possibly up to 6 soldiers died because this guy couldn't tough it out. Because his outpost... He
signed up for this, and that's... Like, I'm just going to say it. It kind of bothers me that 6 U.S. soldiers... 6 different families, not different, like, it's not just 6 people that died, it's 6 families that had their son die to save a guy who made this massive mistake. And I don't even know if it's like beyond a mistake. Like, the way, like, it has been described in the interviews, it was a methodical, not so thought out plan that went wrong. And then the U.S. government gets to go talk to 6 different families and say, hey, like, your son died fighting looking for somebody who was a deserter, essentially.
Well, there's mistakes,
There's mistakes. I've gone in a car accident, right? Ran a red light, tried to jump the gun. It was a yellow. Somebody hit me. It was kind of my fault. That's a mistake, okay? This guy put 6 people's lives.
Well,
took away 6. He put a lot more people's lives in jeopardy. Somebody's livelihood. And 6 people lost their lives for his sake when he signed up for something. And I'm sorry, no, I don't think anything really in the world will prepare you to fight in a war other than war itself. But when you sign up for the military, you're signing your life away on that dotted line, on that contract. And for you to go and desert because you don't think that things are the way you envisioned it. Maybe there's this historical, fictitious vision that war is a glorious and glamorous thing. It's not. And maybe that guy thought that's what he's signing up for. And then it turned out not to be so glamorous and he was upset. But for you to That it was selfish. It's incredibly selfish what he did.
Put his brothers in harm's way, and he ended up getting 6 of them killed. So when this came out, basically reignited the debate. Should we have traded for him? Should we have traded
essentially 5 high-profile terrorists who were going to plan something against us again, and 6 of our own boys, their lives for this one guy who left?
What do you think?
Oh, in hindsight,
there's no soldier left behind, right?
There's no soldier
man
left behind. But he's not a soldier because he deserted. He lost his right to be a soldier when he left his post. I mean, in my mind, if he deserted now, did they know he deserted? That's a different story. I would like to imagine that the United States intel would be able to figure out that this guy left.
Obviously, I think it was pretty well known he left, but who knows why? Like, maybe who the hell knows? But
maybe there was some doubt in that they were assuming that this doubt was
a different story.
There was a different story. But from everything described by all these soldiers who lived there, or who lived with this guy, dealt with this guy, and inhabited the same area, you don't see anybody else leaving.
No.
And you think if he would have voiced his opinion, do you think anybody else would have joined him? Been like, oh yeah, let's bounce.
No,
screw it. Let's leave.
Someone probably would have snitched on him or something.
Absolutely.
So it's really interesting that, we ended up trading for him. I think I think the reason why he came back, it all had to do with policy. So, Obama wanted to end the war in Iraq.
I think it was kind of like a final closure. We had a guy, he was still alive after 5 years, and he was the last to survive. And he was the longest surviving POW of the Afghanistan war. So I think you have a point there.
Yeah, Obama's I ended the war and I brought everyone home. Even the
that's
POW.
what he said. That's what he said he was going to do when he was first being elected.
When he was running.
So
for
I
president.
think maybe that's, and that's a very good point. I think maybe that had a lot to do with it. But now he's still, where is he stationed? In Texas?
Yeah.
He's stationed in Texas, and he's going through the legal proceedings of what they're going to do for him. He's being charged with misbehavioral conduct and desertion. And those, I believe, that can require up to a life sentence in prison.
I mean, desertion could get you death. But
and
they're not gonna
if
do
you
that.
look at the story of what he dealt with for those 5 years,
I mean, he
was literally like, imagine just being in your closet of your house.
In complete darkness.
No, in a basement. Let's just say a basement, because he was in a cave, or my guess. I would guess he would be in a cave.
Yeah,
he was in a room with no light. Absolutely no one to talk to. I mean, I'm sure he spoke a little bit of the Afghani native language, but apparently nobody else most of the people that he dealt with did not speak Afghani. So being by yourself, alone in a dark room for 5 years, I can't imagine. That's pretty horrific. Not being able to socialize. Like, we're humans, we're made to socialize, to be with other people, to interact, to love, to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to mess you up. No social interaction. You're going to go
5
crazy.
years.
He said he was in a room so dark he couldn't even see his hand. And he'd question, what he was. So, imagine questioning, your existence. I mean, that's intense. And he definitely went through a lot. So now the debate is, is that enough?
Should he be convicted of desertion and misbehavioral conduct, possibly serving up to a lifetime sentence in a military prison? Or should he be let go? Was that 5 years enough?
What do you think?
I want to say my first instinct is to say throw him in prison. He's had six people supposedly were killed on his behalf, and he should pay those consequences. And then the second side of me is is that maybe that 5 years was the punishment? Because that is, I mean,
yeah, that's hefty. It's interesting because, he was young. He was 23, but there are also plenty of younger people in the military who didn't do anything like he did. And, part of me is he should serve. I don't know. I think his reputation's kind of destroyed, I believe. And I don't think he can ever live a normal life.
No. Anybody who's ever heard of him will... I mean, I can't... He should not be honorably discharged.
No.
Absolutely not.
I think this would be a better question, and I'd love to hear anyone else's opinion, so comment in the show notes. But, what if you're in the military, what do you think should happen to him? Because, we're not in the military. We've never served. So I don't know if we can really, justly answer this one way or another and give our,
We're outside looking in. I want it inside.
My human compassionate heart says he's served enough and he's going to live a very difficult life. And I think...
he's going to live in his own hell.
I think that jail, might even be a cop-out for him. But... I'm also not a military soldier. I've never served, and I'm sure people who have served have very different... I'm sure they believe...
Well, even in the interview, there's a multitude of different viewpoints of what should happen to this guy.
So it's interesting. We'll see. We're going to hear his perspective as the Serial series carries on. So it'll be interesting to listen and see, if our opinion of him evolves, how this might affect the potential jury case, when he goes in front of military courts. So... It's really interesting. We'll see how it plays out. Honestly, I think, he should get some punishment for it from the U.S. military, just to show you that, desertion isn't okay. How steep, I'm not really sure, but I think...
How do you properly punish this? You
throw it back in jail?
Do you throw him back in jail? But his
towns disowned him.
They
didn't throw him So I've been to Haley, Idaho, plenty of times before, and when I've been there, it was when Bergdahl was missing, and they had yellow ribbons tied on all these trees for him, right? Huh? Yeah, they tied everywhere, and the little stores in the town, they had bring Bergdahl home, all this stuff, but no one had any idea that he was a deserter. So when he finally came home, the town was really gun ho about it and stoked, but then they found out that he might have been a deserter, and they canceled it. So, they
canceled they had a 5-year celebration waiting.
And they canceled it. This is in Idaho.
You've been planning on a party for 5 years? Yeah. You plan on having a bitchin' party.
Yeah.
And then you're going to cancel it? You did something wrong. Your hometown, your family, your friends. Is that punishment enough? Is 5 years in a hole in the ground in Afghanistan enough? Let us know, because as a civilian, I honestly don't know. I can give you my opinion, and but as somebody, I would love to hear many military personnel give what they think.
So to switch it up, we're going to position.
We're going to stick with the military. This is a military Friday night.
Yeah, and the reason we're doing this is because Ash Carter, the defense secretary, just announced this week that all military positions are now open to women, which is really interesting.
Without exception. And I guess prior to this, about 10% of combat roles were closed off to women.
And it's really interesting because this, obviously right away ignited a firestorm.
There were some pissed off.
Yeah, there's some
military men.
Yeah, there was no political correctness or gender equality spared when they were talking about this. Some U.S. commandos said no to women in special operations jobs, which is interesting. And
I believe their argument, and I can understand this, is, if you're a Navy SEAL, some of these Navy SEALs, they're big men. I've met a couple myself, and I have not seen one that's under, that is not shy of 200 pounds. These are big men, each weighing at least 200, 225, 250, I'm sure 275 pounds.
They're America's bravest and finest.
The best of the world. Not America, the world. They're the best soldiers in the world.
Yeah, so basically, what one of them was saying was, this one Navy SEAL said he weighed 225 pounds and 280 pounds in a full kit. And he said that he expected every person on his team to be able to drag him out of a firefight, and he said that a 130-pound female could not do that, no matter how many time she spends in the gym. So would you expect a wounded man to bleed out because a female soldier could not drag him to cover? So that's interesting, and it's kind of a good point. I don't know, but what do you think, Henry?
There's a series of tests, obviously, and qualifications to become any level of the military. Some are easier than others. Obviously, the Navy SEALs, you're going through the most rigorous training that this world has to offer. Now, a 130-pound female will not be able to pass. I don't know. I don't know what these Navy SEALs tests are. I don't think a 130-pound female. I don't think most women, unless we get a 220-pound woman, are going to be able to. So I think it's more of a surface thing that females are allowed into every combat role. I don't know, but I doubt any woman would qualify to be a Navy SEAL based off the tests, because that might be one of the tests is, can you drag out a 300-pound body from the battlefield while getting shot at? And if that is a test, that 130-pound female, 150-pound, if I lifted rigorously I don't think I could do that efficiently. So to find a woman, I mean, I've known some very athletic females, some superb athletes, and they could not, and I don't believe that no matter how much training they have, they could do some of these things. So I think it's more of a nice thought for show. And I'm sure a lot of these 50,000 positions that are being open to women, I'm sure some of them will be filled, but I'm sure many of them won't be, just because a woman physically does not have the same biological chemistry and makeup that a man does, and will not be able to perform the same duty. So while we say they're allowed to fill any role, in reality, I don't think they will.
So I kind of disagree with you. I think that a female could drag a 280-pound man out of a firefight in the middle of it. I think, one, that you could easily lift enough to lift more than twice your body weight and to drag more than twice your body weight. I've dragged a lot of weight before. It's not that hard. So I think, especially if you're in the middle of a firefight and your adrenaline's going, I think that she could easily grab a 280-pound male if she really wanted to and drag him out of a firefight. But I think a man could do it faster.
More efficiently.
Yeah, and more efficiently.
So to go off your point, you think a woman can do it, but not as efficiently.
Yeah.
So by definition, you don't think, and this is to my point, that they would not be able to, if that was a test, it's not just can you drag out, I could drag out a 300-pound man. Might take me a little bit of time. But, and that's the problem, is you have to do it efficiently and quickly as possible. And if I guarantee you there's more men than women that can do that job.
Yeah,
and if there is more men than women that can do the job, the women will never have a chance to perform that duty.
And I don't even think it has to do with sexism and gender equality and all that stuff.
It's biological makeup.
Yeah, just break it down to biologics. Men and women are built completely different because they had different purposes. Like, I'm sorry, but when God created us...
I can't have a baby.
Yeah, I can't have one.
So you can't argue with me that men and women are not the same. Because we're not. Because I can't... I don't have
reproduce a child.
I don't have a vagina to shoot a baby out of.
Yeah, we don't have that.
So we're obviously not equal. I mean, not to diminish that. I mean, women are giving birth to life, and I honestly, truly believe that women are underappreciated, and they could do a lot more than.
But men are supposed to be, historically, we're the fighters. The women are the people who are the caretakers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
and I think
roles are necessarily.
And I still
equal.
think there's women who could kick some more ass than a lot of men could. I've met some very womanly men and some
womanly men
and very manly women. And I've seen there's some women who I've met that probably could kick my ass.
Yeah, definitely. I know there's tons of girls that could kick my ass. Sometimes I'm pretty sure my girlfriend thinks she can kick my ass.
She's not very big.
No, she might be able to.
She's kind of scary.
She can be scary. But, you say that you don't think they'll pass a test, but then we had two, earlier this year, we had two female Rangers who graduated from combat.
What is their role? What is their role? Is their role? I
don't know if it works like that. We're not in the military again, so we're going to sound a little ignorant to some of this. But I think when you graduate as a Ranger class,
you're very specialized. You're very proficient with weaponry, and you're very highly trained.
Yeah, and you said you didn't think they were gonna be able to do it, but they were able to.
We were talking about Navy SEALs. I don't think a woman could be a Navy SEAL. I will say that, and I will until it happens. Prove me wrong. Find a woman to prove me. I would love for that to happen. I would love a woman to prove me wrong because I don't think that women should be limited. I don't think anybody should be limited in any way, shape, or form. If they can do the job just as effectively or better than somebody else, that job should be theirs. But a woman, I don't believe, could be a Navy SEAL.
Well, I think the first chance for a woman to become a Navy SEAL would be in 2017. I don't remember what I was reading, but that's what they were saying. So I guess
this is starting in 2016, but I'm sure to go, and that was the opportunity to start training to become one. So I don't know how long the training takes, but I'm sure it's probably takes at least a year.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, down the line if we have our first Navy SEAL woman. But sounds like men in the military, they're voicing their opinions.
They do not support this.
And I understand because you want the person next to you to be able to protect you and get you out of a life-threatening situation. If
and this might be a bias. We say brothers in arms. It's always been this way. We're not always so open to change, and I can understand that. Again, if a woman can if somebody can do a better job than me at my job, they should do it. And I don't think that should not be, people should not be limited. If your skill set allows you to do something, you should be allowed to do it. If somebody's incompetent and you are more competent, now this is not how the world works, but if you have a higher competency than somebody else, you should be able to have that position. For the world to function as good as it can, you want the most competent person doing that function.
Yeah.
And if a woman can do this, if she can be a Navy SEAL, if she can be an Army Ranger,
by all means.
By all means. I have nothing against it. Now, I don't think a woman can do all these jobs. So, I think a lot of these, I do think a significant portion of women can fill the jobs that they are opening. This 10% of the military, I guess, roles.
Well, you might be proved wrong.
I could be. No, I think that a lot of women can do these jobs. And I think a woman can lead men.
I think they could do them. 100%. Just, can they do them better? Can they beat a man?
Oh, and I think a lot of these women, some of them can do it better than a lot of men. But I guarantee you that they're not going to fill. Positions. I guarantee you that there's a lot of men in these positions who are better. And I don't think these extra 10% that they're opening up that they haven't been allowed to do, I don't think they're not going to be all filled with women.
No, definitely not. So it'll be interesting to see how many do get filled with women, what happens, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. This is America. This should be, we're the land of the free, home of the brave, opportunity.
What do you think? Do you think that they could do it? If we
again, let's get some military personnel in here.
Let's hear
about it. Civilians and veterans alike. We want all shapes and sizes.
So now we're going to bring us to the Pinhead of the Week segment. And originally it was going to be, our Pinhead was going to be ISIS, because going around on the internet was this encrypted message that El Chapo, the Mexican drug lord cartel, sent a threatening message to.
I was kind of excited. I thought it was a badass message.
Yeah, he sent a pretty threatening message to al-Baghdadi, who's the ISIS leader, saying,
who apparently destroyed one of his drug shipments and upset his El Chapo's business operations, but it ended up being false. Yeah, it wasn't true.
Yeah, it ended up all being a prank. So that was interesting. So that ended up being.
That kind of disappointed me, honestly. I was super excited.
It was a total letdown and totally messed up our segment, because we were gonna be able to rag on ISIS for like 10 minutes.
And who doesn't love to rag on ISIS?
Yeah, those sons of bitches. But so now we're going to do something slightly less exciting. But so President Obama and all these actors put out a anti-gun ad that was running on national TV. So it was like Amy Poehler, I think. No, it wasn't. Oh, it was Amy Schumer, Kevin Bacon, Samuel L. Jackson.
So the head of Footloose.
Yeah, all these people basically came forward with President Obama saying, like, let's
all
pass
these actors. These people do for a living act.
Yeah, it came and said
they don't do anything real. They get paid to not be real.
Exactly. So all these actors who have been in movies where they depict plenty of unrealistic gun violence are basically coming forward and asking for gun control. And one that sounds like hypocritical as hell to me. Like Kevin Bacon's been in X-Men. Oh my God, he's been in so many movies with like over-the-top violence.
Yeah, these aren't realistic movies that they're in. And I mean, honestly, I'm no actor. I don't think I could be an actor. I don't think I could do that job function as well as they do. However,
they are just actors.
They are acting.
I feel like Hollywood, they always they think that because their jobs
they have
to
a
entertain,
platform. Yeah. They have a platform and they use it, which I'm all for using their platform, but know what you're talking about before you use your platform.
It's just nothing related to what they do. I mean, Kevin Bacon, you're an X-Men star. Like, you don't have a...
You were in Footloose.
You don't have you're not allowed to have an opinion. I mean, you're definitely allowed to have an opinion on gun control. But, like, what makes you think that the American people are like, oh, Kevin Bacon says there should be gun control.
Kevin Bacon said there's no guns?
Maybe I should go turn in my AR-15.
I'm going to go turn your AR-15, yeah.
I mean, it blows my mind. And I don't know, it's, like, really annoying to me. And I also hate when, you're at a concert and a musician or whenever you're in front of someone,
or like I remember being at like a Kiss FM 102.7 concert and Lil Wayne comes up and says that he believes in God and all this stuff. And
yeah, it's like, don't preach to a captive audience.
Don't preach to a captive audience.
We came here to hear you rap about drugs and drinking.
Sex, and
we didn't come here
lean and all this other stuff. I'm sorry.
About this other shit.
Take God out of this. You can voice your opinion. I'm sorry. I totally support you voicing your opinion. But at the same
just
time,
remember where it's coming from. I don't know. I really
take that
can't
with
stand,
a grain of salt.
I can't stand when Hollywood does this stuff. It's literally so
annoying.
Hollywood,
you're Tinseltown. Come on, take it down a notch.
I know you have most of you guys
unless
have
you're Emma Watson, who's a very smart, sophisticated, educated woman. Natalie Portman. Like some of these actors are.
You just like them because they're hot.
Emma Watson is a goddess.
But the thing is, like. And half these people walk around with armed security guards, so it's like a joke. Like,
yeah,
it like blows my mind.
How many guns is Lil Wayne? I mean, Lil Wayne shot himself, so maybe he should be the one under gun control.
Seriously, he'd have.
He raps about guns, and he's shot up. He's the only person he shot is himself.
Anyways, Pinhead of the Week. All the celebrities who are in the stupid gun control thing. Way to go! You wasted your time. You're going to accomplish nothing. Also, we're looking for another word instead of pinhead because we want to find something that better describes it. If you got a good cinnamon, let it...
Cinnamon?
I'm hungry. Something about cinnamon biscuits or something.
Toast Crunch.
Oh, that sounds really good. But
anyway, yeah, we're looking for something other than Pinhead of the Week. Obviously, I enjoy Bill O'Reilly, so...
Yeah, we stole it from Bill.
Sorry, Bill. But, so we kind of want to get something new. If you can think of something better,
let us know.
We'll definitely take it into consideration. We've been brewing, so
that's it.
We appreciate your listening this week, and again, we'll be back next week. We're gonna keep coming. You can't hold us back.
Yeah, we appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoy what we're talking about, we'd really appreciate it if you left a 5-star review in iTunes. With some comments, and if you could subscribe to our channel or podcast as well, that'd be great. And
you can go to our website, Love Being American. If you give us a 5-star review, are we giving out t-shirts?
Yeah, we're giving out t-shirts.
They're pretty cool t-shirts.
So last week, we got a review from Todd. He gave us a 5-star review. And
Yeah,
so we're going to be sending
Todd.
Todd. He's in Orange County. He's local. We don't know him, we swear. But we're going to be sending him a I Love Being American t-shirt. So, yeah, leave us a 5-star review. And maybe next week it'll be to you. And just to let you know, next week we're going to choose someone outside of California. So that's going.
Oh, wow.
We're going the whole North America. So let us know.
We're going continental.
Exactly. And the best thing you can do is give us a recommendation to a friend. That's honestly the biggest compliment you could give us. So if you think you know someone who liked this show, recommend it. We really appreciate it. With that being said,
I'm Henry.
I'm Andrew.
We love being American.
Have a great day.